Hello, I'm Commander Exigeous, and today we'll look at some of the best ways to survive Elite Dangerous in open play. One of the 3 play modes, Open allows you to interact with other players of many different playstyles. While this makes Open more dangerous than solo or private, that danger is generally greatly exaggerated and should not be something that is feared. Let's start by setting expectations. Yes, if you play in Open mode, you will likely, at some point, be attacked and destroyed by another player. While Open mode brings some additional risk, it also brings many enjoyable interactions, as the majority of the commanders you will meet will be friendly. The reality is, given the size of the galaxy, the number of players, and problematic instancing system, the odds of you being attacked are very, very low. Even if you are, there are several techniques you can use to survive and deal with these encounters. Now let's look at some of the most dangerous systems in the galaxy, as these are the places you need to be the most prepared for attack. These would be the starter systems of LHS 3447 and Aerovate, and the systems within 20 or so light years. As griefers target these systems, it is best to move on as soon as you have the range to do so. Community goal systems are likely the most dangerous, as combat pilots will congregate here given the popularity with the community. Finally, highly populated systems such as LHS 20, Shinra Desra, etc., and the capital systems for the superpowers can also be somewhat dangerous. Outside of these systems, it's somewhat rare to even see a commander, let alone be attacked by one. Now that we know where the most dangerous parts of the galaxy are, let's look at being as attentive as possible to ensure we aren't attacked in the first place. Here, your scanner and chat panel are invaluable. As you jump into a system, you should look at your scanner for any human contacts waiting near the star. If clear and you're now heading to a station, continue to glance at your chat panel, as this will show any commanders in your current instance. If you see a player, scanning them and checking their sub-targets for an interdictor will help determine their intent. So, what do we do when we are interdicted? First, do not fight the interdiction, as it is highly unlikely you will win, as your attacker likely has hundreds, if not thousands, of interdictions under their belts. The primary concern is if you fight an interdiction and lose, your FSD cooldown will be 40 seconds rather than 10 if you submit. Once you've dropped to normal space, let's look at what you can do to increase your chances of survival. The first thing is not to panic. Keeping calm is rather important, as you're going to be very busy. Once you drop, ensure you have your pip set for 4-2-0 so you can have maximum power to your shields. Many pilots think they can boost away and put full power to engines, which is futile, as any attacker will almost certainly be much faster than you. Next is to quickly pop chaff and a heat sink, while then locking any remote system for hyperspace jump, known as high waking. When high waking, other ships cannot mass lock you, meaning you can charge to jump without delay based on the size of the attacking ship. Even without being mass locked, if you jump to supercruise, your attacker will likely follow and interdict you again. As you line up for your jump, watch your shields, and as soon as they drop, engage silent running. This is all an attempt for your attacker to lose target lock. As many will be using gimbaled weapons, this makes it much more difficult for them to continue to engage you. If all has gone to plan and you've arrived in a remote system, once you get your bearings, head to the closest station for repair, as it's extremely unlikely your attacker will follow. Once repaired, you can attempt to make it to the station once again, as it's likely your attacker has moved on to another target. At this point, you could choose to log out and into solo or private mode if you've been attacked several times and have tired of the cat and mouse game. Please note that task killing, disconnecting your network connection, or otherwise ending your game session with an external tool known as combat logging is absolutely considered an exploit by Frontier, and as such has been deemed by them as a bannable offense. Now let's take a look at how to properly outfit to increase your chances of surviving one of these encounters. We'll primarily be talking about trade or short-range exploration ships, where safety is more important than absolute jump range or cargo space. Starting with your core modules, you'll want to run an A-rated and full-size power plants, distributors, thrusters, and frameshift drives. You can run D-rated life support and sensors if you'd like, as these won't make or break an encounter. For your shield generator, you'll want to run the largest A-rated you can fit to give yourself as much protection as possible. For your utilities, you'll want a chaff launcher first, heat sink second, filling any remaining slots with A-rated shield boosters. Finally, for weapons, skip them completely. The last thing you'll want to do is try to engage a target, as there is virtually no chance that will be successful. Some commanders like the idea of using mines, however, it is extremely unlikely your attacker will fall for such a simple tactic. Finally, as part of outfitting, be sure to enable Report Crimes Against Me so that any actions will be reported to System Authority, and if your attacker is successful at destroying you, they will at least have to deal with the ramifications of notoriety. Whether or not you survive an encounter, it is very important to keep calm and not feed your attacker salt, which is ultimately what many griefers are after. Screaming obscenities will only encourage their behavior. We should also discuss encounters with PvP pirates. These are players who are role-playing and have little desire to destroy you. If you are sent piracy demands and your attacker isn't constantly firing, stopping and role-playing with them can be an enjoyable experience for you both. As PvP pirates are just role-playing, they can be very fun to interact with, as many times their demands are very reasonable, asking for as little as 2 tons of cargo. Let's end with a popular griefing tactic, especially at community goal stations, known as suicide windering. This is where a commander will boost into you using a likely damaged sidewinder such that they will explode after ramming you. The issue is, if you are speeding, that is flying over 100 meters per second, you've just committed the crime of murder. This will cause the station to instantly attack and destroy you, and as you've now just died with a murder bounty, you will spawn in the closest detention center. The way to avoid this is to approach the station at under 100 meters per second, as now if someone crashes into you and dies, they will have committed the crime and spawn in detention while you dock successfully. While open play is clearly more dangerous than solo or private, if you fly heads up with a properly outfit ship, you can mitigate that risk considerably. The benefits of playing in an open, populated galaxy where the vast majority of commanders you come across are friendly and helpful far outweighs the very small risk that it brings. In my first 1,000 hours of playing in open, I was griefed a total of 6 times, which cost me 0.1% of my total playtime and less than 0.5% of my assets. I lost far more time and credits to NPCs in those 1,000 hours and had many enjoyable encounters with human players. If, however, you are absolutely risk-averse, solo and private mode are available to you, as remember, we all consent to PvP engagements when we select open mode. Hopefully this guide has given you the knowledge necessary to mitigate the risks that are inherent with open play, and if you've not yet ventured into the open galaxy, you'll begin to do so. The additional immersion and excitement of open play brings life to the galaxy in a way that solo and sometimes private just doesn't. Once again, this has been Commander Exigeous, reminding you to fly dangerously, and thanks for watching. If you found that tutorial helpful, I hope you'll have a look at my other content. You can also join my live streams, Tutorial Tuesdays, and Creators Roundtable every Friday, and I hope you'll consider supporting my efforts via Patreon.